Listen, O barren one who did not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, you who have not been in labour. For the children of the desolate one will be more than the children of her who is married, says the Lord. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. For you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and your offspring will possess the nations and will people the desolate cities.
Hi there, it's great to be with you again on Leadership Lean In. And 2 Sundays ago we had an amazing morning. If you can remember, we had some really big news to tell, didn't we, Joel?
Yes, yeah. So we shared something that we feel like, well, kind of was inevitable, but also that God had been leading us into and speaking to us about. And so we looked at that passage that we've just heard, Esther reading to us in Isaiah 54, verses 1-3, about this stretching out, this lengthening and strengthening of us by faith making space. We're launching a second meeting in the autumn. And so we're really excited about it. We've got a few more things to share with you in this lean in about it. But like we said on this over the last couple of Sundays, it's not like we've got all the answers yet. We know some of the things that we'd like to do, but there's loads of things still to be shaped. Still to be decided on. We want to kind of feel like we're doing this together. It's not just a few of us in a room making all these decisions separate from everyone else. But as we come to pray and worship tomorrow night, that's a moment for us to feel a sense of ownership and a shaping. And as we go through the next coming weeks and months, we want to feel like we've heard God together about this.
I mean, it's good to ask the question, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be easy just to say, well, we're getting big, we're filling the room, we've got to do something. And although that may be true, and it's a brilliant problem to have, isn't it? I mean, what a great, that we've been growing steadily over the last 18 months or so, which is fantastic. But we really feel we've heard God as well. You know, that's the Isaiah passages we've been looking at in our series, been preaching into that. You know, we've really felt God speak to us. I mean, it goes way back into the early days of Jubilee Church. When God spoke first, and then it came consistently for a few years, and then seemed to die away, and it's come again recently. Yeah. I mean, you felt God speak to you at the hub we had here.
Yeah, the hub here in Worthing. A couple of people brought that word in that week to me, independently of each other. And then when we were at Convergence in Dubai in November, someone shared that, not just personally to me, but to the whole conference. But it felt like just a confirmation of what God has been speaking to me and to us about.
It's a bit like God bringing back the promises and reaffirming them to next generation of leaders, isn't it? So that's quite exciting, really. Yeah. And so, you know, God has always had this plan. God's always had in mind what He's going to be doing with us. But now He's brought events together and spoken prophetically, stirred our hearts. And so we're really full of faith, and this is going to be a really exciting year in kind of approaching this. And then, of course, when we launch this, which is going to be sometime in the middle of October, it's just going to be an amazing time. And I think 2025 is a year to remember for Redeemer.
Thanks God. Yeah. And so before we get onto a few details, kind of one of the key things we want to communicate to you, to us, for us as a church to kind of carry, is that everyone has a part to play in what we're doing over the coming weeks, months, and years to come. It's not just the 30 to 50 people who go to the afternoon meeting, but it's the people who stay in the morning. We want to feel that call of God, that sense of faith together, that God is at work with us, and He wants to use each and every one of us. So everyone has their part to play. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, all I can do is pour coffee, or I don't know what you might disqualify yourselves in all sorts of ways, but you are needed. Like God has gifted you and given you certain things that we need in this church family.
Absolutely. So it's the people that don't go to the second meeting but stay with the current meeting. Mm-hmm. You have a big part to play, because there will be gaps and holes, and we're going to need to kind of, you know, not exactly double up, but you know, the effort is going to be more to continue to serve one another, which is what the Bible clearly teaches us, and to serve the visitors and the guests that come amongst us. because we actually believe that the meeting that remains at the same time will continue to grow. I mean, there's no reason to think that's now going to tail off. Continue to grow, and we'll obviously have to rethink that one further down the line. But then obviously people going and owning that second meeting, again, everybody will have a part to play. There may be some doubling up in that meeting, to be honest with you, because we want to kind of give it a feel, almost feeling a little bit like a church plant. It's definitely still part of Redeemer. It's definitely, there's no change there. But actually, it gives people a little taste of what would it be like if I was to plant a church, or be involved in a church plant. And obviously, in the years to come, we do believe God will call us to plant beyond the boundaries of Worthing, locally, maybe even further afield. Who knows?
Yeah. So that afternoon one. We're not splitting the church down the middle and saying, right,
no.
you lot who sit over that side, you go to the afternoon, you lot over here stay in the morning. But we're in our minds, we're thinking 30 to 50 people who are full of faith say, I believe God has called me to be part of this, whether it's just for that first year or years and years to come. And it will have that kind of, like Rod said, that sense of church plant feel to it. And we're really excited for that. So it may be, as we've spoken the last couple of Sundays, you feel God speaking to you about that. We'd love to know. We'd love you to come and speak to us and let us know actually whether it's just like a wondering, or whether it's I can't wait for it. I want to be there. We know a few people who have already said to us they want to be part of it. That's a handful.
Yes, I do pray. So pray and say, Lord, what part do I play in the autumn? Do you want me to stay in the current meeting in the morning? Do you want me to be part of this newer meeting in the afternoon? The afternoon also does provide great opportunities to do something new, to stretch yourself in new ways. And to begin with, we're going to kind of be matching the preaching between the two groups, but who knows, in the future, it could be a great place to raise up some new preaching, for instance, some new worship leaders, for instance. There's all sorts of new meeting leaders, there's all sorts of opportunities that this actually creates to multiply leadership in every area of church life, as well as obviously the need for serving in all the different parts and departments.
Yeah, so the serving is a big one. So like we said when we announced it, we're not expecting, if you're on a kids team in the morning, we're not expecting you to come back in the afternoon and serve on that. The idea is to have separate teams, which might take a little while to get going, and so we might be asking people who are joining the plant to still come once a month on a Sunday morning to help as we try and fill the slots that are left of the people who go. So who knows quite what that will look like, but we're not looking at doubling up everything. Okay, no. So rest easy. We want the afternoon meeting to sustain itself. We know. So,
and do we think we have a time for that, or are we still working on that?
So we're not sure. We're not 100%, but we think it'll be around 3:30 is what we're saying at the moment. But it might move half an hour earlier, it might move half an hour later. But we really want it to be a service that everyone can come to. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with having evening meetings, but we felt for us, we really wanted to have the multi-generational time together, where we can have babies with us. So we wanted to do it before bedtime comes. And we can have the elderly with us before their bedtime comes as well. And so that time can work for everyone. And obviously, if we brought it earlier, if we made it 1 o'clock, then some people might. Obviously, there will be times when everyone will love, but we feel like the 3 to 4 o'clock is going to serve us best. Where we can, obviously, there's benefits to people in church who have come to church. You might free up their Sunday mornings, and they'll love that. But really, we're thinking about the unchurched people who are never going to come on a Sunday morning because of sports or whatever else is going on, where actually we have an opportunity to reach them in the afternoon.
I mean, it's important as well that whenever the start time is, the Gilbourne will still be open. Mm-hmm. So we want people to come in the same way. Yeah. It may be that we're not able to leave the same way. That's a detail we haven't thought through yet, and we obviously will think about that quite clearly. But to come in to begin with, it is definitely at the start coming up the stairs as normal. Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we'll get to 6 months down the line or a year down the line and think actually this 3:30 is not working as well as we like, and we need to move it a little bit forward, or we need to move it a little bit back. But we've got the space to do that. Yeah. But the morning will stay the same. The morning, we're not planning on changing the time of that. And the reason we didn't go for 2 meetings in the morning is because we really do value the Nation Sundays, which one of those is coming up, and being able to run Alpha that has worked well for us currently on a Sunday lunchtime.
Very well, yeah.
And if we were to do 2 morning meetings, at the moment that would let us sacrifice those kind of key family times, which we believe are really important for us.
Yeah, and we kind of wanted to give the second meeting this distinctive feeling, and something that's slightly different, to kind of emulate this idea of what would it be like if I was involved in a smaller church that was maybe even a church plant, and that, you know, we can't, you know, say enough, this isn't a church plant and this is still Redeemer, but we want to give it that feel. And so we felt we needed to separate these 2 meetings out by a bit of distance. Otherwise we're just kind of like splitting the church in half. You lot go to the first half, you lot go to the second half, and and you'd end up with kids workers then feeling like they had to double up and things like that. We just want to create a distinctiveness at this time, which is a little bit maybe unconventional. We've thought about it, we have prayed about it, we've chatted about it. There are different models, different ideas, but we just feel God is saying do it this way. And we feel like we have to be true to what we feel the Holy Spirit telling us. If God is saying do it this way, then this is the way we need to do it. And we will make mistakes, it won't be perfect. Like Giles said, I'm sure there'll be tweaks and things as we go along. I think we'll learn a lot as well. This is a great learning opportunity for all of us. And who knows, in the future, there may be that Redeemer will need another meeting as well. We just don't know. There's obviously church planting that we want to do as well. It's exciting, and it feels like a first step at branching beyond the normal. It's like this. It's like an extra stretch now. It's like, let's get these tent pegs and pull them out a bit further and pull them out a bit further. Can we flex our muscles to enlarge this space? By faith, we're making space here, which is what we talked about two Sundays ago. So this is all very much part of that.
Yeah, and we're just conscious that we could be comfortable. We could just stay as we are, and that would be an easier thing for us to do. And we could just squeeze a few more people in. Like I said, we've grown over since COVID. We've grown almost exactly, or maybe just over 10% year on year. And we're expecting that again. Like we started this year at 180, and we'll probably end up at 200 by the way things are going, which feels full once you add in the adults who are serving in kids' teams and the kids are in that first little bit. But it would be comfortable to stay like that. But we want to take some risks. We want to trust God for some things, even though we'll feel a sense of loss, like we've spoken about. Like you might not see the people you like to see on a Sunday, you might not stand next to the people you like to stand with and worship. Like we said, you might just be looking across the room and the person you like to see across the room who just gives you that assurance isn't there, because they're in the morning or the afternoon where you're not. But we want to go for some things together as a church family. We don't want to just settle for the status quo and just a safe option, but we want to, like William Carey said, if we expect great things of God, we want to be a people who attempt great things. And so let's see what God will do.
And this feels like we are stretching ourselves and attempting, whether it's a great thing or not, I don't know, but we are attempting something more in God. We're going beyond our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then we can say, come on, God, we're being obedient. Now we're looking to you, Lord, to do wonders in amongst us.
Yeah, just like that. He says to the barren woman to sing because of all of these kids that you're going to have, and we're really expecting and praying for all of the people that we're going to see saved and added to this family, to God's family, because we've made space by faith that people can come in and they can hear the good news. I love the baptisms. Hearing George and Eva and Vida's stories, and wouldn't it be amazing to hear many more stories like that, many more stories of George, people like George who've come in and they sat in the midst of us for over the course of a year, and God has opened his eyes, and we want to see many more people, and Vida and Eva as well, different stories, but God has been at work in them. So that's our prayer.
Yes. So one thing that you can do straight away is tomorrow night you can come to the prayer and worship evening, because we're going to be praying into this, and it'll be interesting to see what God says. I mean, God may even speak prophetically in that moment, but our prayers are important, and we're just asking God for faith, for grace, for favour, for obviously for some answers as well, how we do things. as a church, we need to be praying about this. We kind of take it for granted. Like I say, we haven't got all the answers, and sometimes you don't quite know what to do and how should that work out, and you can give it your best guess, but actually, isn't it better when we've heard from God and we felt, actually the Spirit led us in this area, so this is why we're going to do that, because God led us in that way. And we can all hear from God, and we all add our prayers together, because this is a family thing. This second afternoon meeting is still family on a mission, just like the first one is. So that's why we're going to have children's work and a range of ages on that. We're still family on a mission, but we're seeking God. How do we now branch out in these two meetings as one family on a mission to Worthing and the nations?
Yeah. So you have a part to play. Like we all of us together have a part to play in seeing this succeed. But thank God, it's not down to us. Ultimately, it's down to what Jesus has done for us that we get called into it. And so please do be praying, like Rod said at the start. Whether it's for the morning or the afternoon, just pray. Where would God have you? What's he saying to you? Where do you feel led? And we would love to see you tomorrow night at prayer and worship. But then also one more thing. On the 23rd of March, what's happening?
Nation Sunday.
Nation Sunday.
And not to be missed. They are one of our best times together. Are they better than baptisms? I don't know. They're both really good, aren't they? But it's another really, really good morning where we celebrate the diversity of nations amongst us. Yeah. And then at the end of it, we chat to one another and chat over a meal and enjoy lots of cuisine from around the world. Yeah. And they are one of my favourite Sundays.
They are such good Sundays.
So please do come along, but also sign up.
Yeah, the link below. Hopefully will be there. So if you haven't already, get signed up. Let us know what you're bringing, because it takes a lot of organisation to bring it together. And so the more we know, and the sooner we know it, the better it will be. Well, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, prayer and worship.
Yep. Bye.